There's a thought that creeps in quietly. You might not even notice it at first. It shows up in the morning when you look in the mirror. It whispers when you watch younger people move fast and seem so certain about where they're going. It settles in during the quiet moments when you wonder if your best days are already behind you. And the thought says, maybe it's too late for you. Maybe the window has closed. Maybe the dreams you once carried have an expiration date. Maybe God is done with your chapter and has moved on to someone younger, someone with more energy, someone with more time ahead of them. If you've ever felt that, this is for you. Because I want to tell you something today that I believe with everything in me. You are never too old for God to move in your life. Not at 50, not at 60, not at 70, not at 80. There is no age limit on what God can do through a willing heart. And if you are still breathing, He is still working. Let me show you what I mean. Moses was 80 years old when God called him to lead an entire nation out of slavery. 80. He had already lived what most people would call a full life. He had made mistakes. He had run from his past. He had spent decades in the desert feeling forgotten and invisible. And then, one ordinary day, a bush caught fire, and everything changed. God didn't look at Moses and say, "You're too old for this." God looked at Moses and said, "You are exactly who I need." Abraham was 75 years old when God told him to pack up everything he owned and go to a land he had never seen. No map, no plan, just a promise. And from that one act of obedience, an entire nation was born. Sarah laughed when she heard she would have a child at 90 years old. She actually laughed. And God said, "Is anything too hard for me? Is anything too hard for God?" I want you to sit with that question for a moment. Whatever you're looking at in your life right now, the years behind you, the limitations you feel, the dreams that seem too far gone, is any of that too hard for God? The answer is no. It has always been no, and it will always be no. Here is something I want you to understand about how God sees time. He doesn't see it the way we do. We look at a calendar and we feel the weight of every year. We count what we've lost. We measure what's left. We compare ourselves to some invisible timeline that tells us we should have done more by now. But God doesn't operate on that timeline. He is not in a hurry. He is not behind schedule, and He has never once looked at you and thought, "I wish I had more time with this one." Every season of your life has been preparation, even the hard ones, especially the hard ones. The years that felt wasted were not wasted. The seasons that felt like detours were not detours. God was building something in you that could only be built through time, through patience, through the kind of depth that only comes from having lived. And now, right now, you carry something that no young person can replicate. You carry wisdom. You carry resilience. You carry a faith that has been tested and has held. You know what it means to trust God in the dark because you have done it. You know what it feels like to wait on a promise because you have waited. You know how to pray with your whole heart because you have had to. That is not a small thing. That is everything. God doesn't need your youth. He needs your yes. And if you are still here, if you woke up this morning and drew another breath, then your yes still matters. Your story is still being written. Your chapter is not over. Maybe you feel like you've missed your moment. Maybe there's something you always wanted to do, a dream you set aside, a calling you pushed down, a purpose you told yourself was for someone else. Maybe life got complicated and the years went by faster than you expected, and now you wonder if it's too late to go back and pick that thing up again. Let me tell you something. It is not too late. Not for the relationship you want to heal, not for the person you want to become, not for the difference you want to make, not for the peace you've been searching for, not for the purpose you've always felt stirring somewhere deep inside you. God is not finished with you. He brought you this far for a reason. Every experience you've had, every scar you carry, every lesson you've learned, it all means something. It is all part of something bigger than you can see right now. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." He said hope and a future, not hope and a past, not hope and a memory, a future, your future, still unwritten, still full of possibility, still held in the hands of a God who has never once lost track of you. So I want to ask you something today. What if you stopped measuring your life by what's behind you and started trusting God for what's still ahead? What if you woke up tomorrow not with the weight of too late, but with the quiet courage of not yet finished? What if the most meaningful chapter of your life is still coming? I believe it is. I believe God has things prepared for you that will surprise you. Moments of joy you didn't expect. Connections that will matter deeply. A sense of purpose that will feel more clear and more real than anything you felt before. Not in spite of your age, but because of everything your age has given you. You are not too old. You are not too far gone. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where God needs you to be, and He is not done with you yet. So take a breath today. Let go of the lie that says it's too late, and take one step forward in faith. Because the God who called Moses at 80, who gave Abraham a promise at 75, who made Sarah laugh with joy at 90, that same God sees you today, and He still has plans for you. Good ones.